The year was 1945. World War II was reaching its brutal end, and the United States Navy had just given one of its heavy cruisers, USS Indianapolis, a mission so secret, not even her crew knew what they carried. Her captain, Charles Butler McVeigh III, a respected, disciplined officer. Her crew, nearly 1,200 men. Her cargo components for the world's first atomic bomb, Little Boy, the weapon that would soon be dropped on Hiroshima. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any new videos. Your support really helps this channel grow. Thank you. USS Indianapolis was heading across the Pacific into a silent war zone. She would complete her mission, but she would never return home. At 8 a.m. on July 16, 1945, in San Francisco, the Indianapolis began her final secret assignment. Loaded carefully at Hunters Point Naval Shipyard, military trucks delivered two items: a heavily guarded metal cylinder containing 1,200 pounds of enriched uranium-235, a small, sealed crate with detonating components. These would form the core of the atomic bomb. Only Captain McVeigh and a few officers knew the truth. To the sailors, it was special cargo. Nothing more. On July 19th, the Indianapolis arrived at Pearl Harbor. She refueled, resupplied, and without ceremony, she sailed again. Destination: Tinian Island. Along the way, McVeigh received a warning. Japanese submarines were active. Maintain zigzag course when visibility allows. 7 days later, the ship reached Tinian, delivered the bomb parts, ahead of schedule, then sailed to Guam. Her next orders: sail to Leyte Gulf in the Philippines to join the final invasion force. And so, USS Indianapolis headed back into open water. Unescorted. No destroyer. No support. Just 1,195 men. And fate. July 29, 1945. The Pacific was calm. The night air warm. Sailors relaxed after long days at sea. Some wrote letters home. Others played cards. Many slept in their bunks. At midnight, Captain McVeigh gave the order to stop zigzagging. Visibility was low. Black night. No moon. McVeigh believed it made no difference. But beneath the waves, a set of periscopes were already rising. The Japanese submarine I-58, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Makitsura Hashimoto, had spotted the cruiser. Hashimoto prepared a spread of torpedoes, including Type 95 Long Lance torpedoes, the deadliest in the Pacific. He fired. 2 torpedoes slammed into the Indianapolis. The first hit near the bow, igniting a massive explosion. The second struck near midship, detonating aviation fuel. Darkness, fire, chaos. Within 12 minutes, the USS Indianapolis began to roll. Her lights failed. Her communications died. Her hull split. Captain McVeigh ran to the bridge and gave the only order left: abandon ship. Hundreds jumped into the Black Ocean. Others were thrown by explosions. At 12:27 a.m., USS Indianapolis disappeared beneath the surface. No SOS was received. No rescue call made. Her location unknown. Her men alone. 900 sailors made it into the water. Only 316 would survive. The survivors floated in the dark, stunned, burned, bleeding. They held onto life jackets, floater nets, or debris. Some were covered in oil. Others were injured from the blasts. The night was calm, the sea warm, but beneath them movement. First small shadows, then fins. The sailors of USS Indianapolis were surrounded, not by a few sharks, but by dozens. These were oceanic whitetip sharks, one of the most aggressive predators in open water. Experienced Navy officers knew the truth. The men were in the middle of a feeding zone. As dawn rose on July 30th, the horror became real. The sharks moved closer, circling, testing. At first, they went for the dead. Bodies floated everywhere, and the ocean began to turn red. Survivors heard screams. Eyewitness Edgar Harrell, a Marine, later said, they would come up behind a man and pull him straight down. You'd hear a blood-curdling scream. And then silence. The sailors tried to stay in groups. Those who drifted alone were taken first. They splashed. They kicked. They prayed. The sharks kept coming. The Navy didn't know the ship was gone. No one reported her missing. This was a failure that would haunt the Navy for decades. The men expected rescue in hours. But the hours became a day. And then another. They were starving. Dehydrated. Delirious under the sun. Some drank seawater and went insane. Sailor Lachlan MacDonald recalled, they'd start screaming about seeing ships. They'd swim off, and the sharks would get them. Oil burned their skin. Salt ate their eyes. Still, they waited. By the second day, the groups were smaller. Sharks were everywhere. The survivors realized the horrifying pattern. The sharks attacked at dawn. And again at dusk. They avoided splashing. Kept wounded men in the center. Held each other in tight circles. But the sharks adapted. They came from below, exploding upward, pulling men down. Some men begged others to end their suffering. Others clutched rosaries. Many floated silently, exhausted by fear. Still, no rescue. Heatstroke and dehydration took their toll. Men started hallucinating. Some imagined floating food. Some thought the ocean turned to fresh water. Others attacked their own shipmates, delirious. Nightfall brought a different terror, the cold. Hypothermia crept in. One survivor recalled, sharks below us, death above us. We were trapped between them. By now, hundreds were gone. Still, no planes, no ships, no help. On August 2, 1945, 4 days after the sinking, a Navy PV-1 Ventura bomber flew overhead. Pilot Lieutenant Wilbur Chuck Gwynn saw something strange. An oil slick, stretching miles. Then tiny dots. Dozens of them. He put on binoculars. He saw arms waving. He radioed in the message that saved hundreds. Dumbo 1 to base. And in the water. It was the first time anyone in the U.S. Navy realized the Indianapolis was missing. A PBY Catalina seaplane, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Adrian Marks, was sent to investigate. When Marks arrived over the scene, he couldn't believe what he saw. Hundreds of men, scattered over miles, surrounded by sharks, some barely alive, some already gone. Marks disobeyed orders. He landed the plane in open ocean, a dangerous act. He began pulling men aboard. The Catalina quickly filled. Men were strapped to the wings, lashed to the fuselage, held in place by desperate rescuers. All night they worked. Meanwhile, the destroyer USS Cecil J. Doyle raced toward the scene. At midnight, her captain ordered the ship's lights pointed upward, a beacon for the survivors. By dawn, rescue ships arrived. Of the 1,195 men aboard the USS Indianapolis, around 900 made it into the water. Only 316 survived. It remains the deadliest shark-related tragedy in human history, and the greatest U.S. naval disaster caused not by battle, but by miscommunication, secrecy, and fate. When the survivors returned, the Navy needed someone to blame. They chose Captain Charles B. McVeigh III. He was court-martialed for failing to zigzag, losing his ship. Even the Japanese commander, Makitsura Hashimoto, testified in McVeigh's defense. Zigzagging would have made no difference. Still, McVeigh was convicted. For decades, survivors fought to clear his name, but the shame crushed him. On November 6, 1968, McVeigh took his own life. He held in his hand a toy sailor, a memento sent each year by a survivor who thanked him for saving his life. In the year 2000, Congress finally cleared him. His record was exonerated. Justice, delayed, but delivered. The sinking of the USS Indianapolis was not just a tragedy of war, but a lesson in responsibility. A ship forgotten, a crew abandoned, and men left fighting the ocean itself. Their story reminds us, heroes are not always the ones who win. Sometimes, they are the ones who endure.